Hello and welcome to the Weekly Unfold with me, Ramat Tijani, coming to you from, I would say sunny Ghana, but it's actually nighttime, so coming to you from Ghana, just not during the day. Well, it's been a mix of scrambling, settling in, and a bit of soul searching this week. So yeah, I've had a few different asks that I've had to make this week, and also being in the space that I'm in with a group of amazing people has forced me to really kind of like hold a mirror up to myself. So that's been interesting. So yeah, let's get into what's unfolded in the last week. So let's get into my ask. This week, as I mentioned, I'm not currently in the UK, I'm in Ghana, and we're quite a big group, and we have different people staying in different apartments in either twos or threes. So I'm staying in an apartment with two other people. The challenge with that is that when we first got here, they gave us a room which only had a one working key. So you can imagine the logistical nightmare that comes with, I want to go here today, I want to go there today, will you be here, will you be there, da, 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 da. So my ask was for a new room. At the very least, that meant that we all had our own keys. And that's what they were able to sort out, which was great. So yeah, if you don't ask, you don't get. And in this instance, we asked and we got. Thank you. So that was my ask for the week. My failure. I should have packed earlier. I didn't. And so I was kind of scrambling last minute, and I left something at home that I really, really, really needed to bring with me to Ghana this time. And it's a bit of a costly error, which means I'm going to have to take a hit to that. But, it's not fine, but it is also just my current reality. But I was so mad at myself when I realised I'd forgotten this this thing. So yeah, it's gonna cost me, but what can I do? At least I'm here. At least I'm here. I'm trying to see some positive out of it. There really isn't for this situation. It's gonna cost money. Yeah. I failed epically on that one. I need to learn to pack earlier so that I can do kind of like my last minute checks with some ease. Anyway, on to the next thing. Okay. On to two lessons or reminders. The first is, I guess, going back to that, if you don't ask, you don't get piece. Landed in Ghana, and we've got like a pretty full itinerary, and I really wanted to get my hair braided. I just thought, with the itinerary we've got, it's just not going to happen. I don't know anyone that I can get that quickly. However, I made the ask, and actually was able to find a really, really good hairdresser who was able to braid my hair. I'd come with my hair washed anyway, ready for braiding. She was able to braid my hair, or this is like twists, but she was able to do my hair. She was able to do hair for a couple of the other ladies. And yeah, it was great. So you don't ask, you don't get. Ask the question. You just never know. Boom, you might actually get what you need. Second lesson or reminder is around the fact that sometimes you just have to revisit the past in order to help you understand and be more in tune with the present. I went to Cape Coast, and we went to some of the castles there that were used during the slave trade. And you've heard the stories before, you've seen some films about it, you being I. So I've heard the stories before, I've seen some films, etc. And yet, being there, being in the rooms that enslaved people were kept, hearing about some of the conditions, and just realizing that, like, you're standing in the place that so many people's ancestors were. Some survived, some didn't. It was, it was a lot. It was a lot. But I recognized that it's also so important to go and see those spaces for yourself, or it was for me. I'd never done it before. My family are from Ghana, and every time I do come, I genuinely come to Accra and spend time with family. So I've never actually spent time or had the chance to go to Cape Coast. So it was a really eye-opening experience. But I feel like it was an important reminder that sometimes you do have to visit the past to kind of help you recognize and see the importance of the present moment, but also what's to come. It was a bit of a heavy one this week. So, all right, let's move on to the next thing. Things that I am thankful or grateful for. So, on a much happier note, I love being back in Ghana. The sun is sunning, the energy, the feeling of like coming home just never gets old. Never gets old. I love it here. So that's number one. Next thing I'm grateful and thankful for is, I guess, like the various people that I've met on this tour. We've been brought together as part of a movement, an initiative called Protect Black Women, and it's just such a beautiful group of humans, so beautiful, and there's a level of comfortability, if that's a word, that just ripples through the group and has rippled through so easily. It's beautiful. So many new friendships being made, old friendships deepening. It's beautiful to see, and I love it here. So that's the second thing that I'm super thankful and grateful for, being a part of this space. And I guess that leads me on to the third thing, which is, being in this space where people are holding up mirrors. And it's not only been in this group, like definitely in this group, but also throughout the week, I've had several conversations where people have just held up mirrors, and I've been just grateful for the fact that those mirrors have been held up. And I'm being challenged to reflect on who I really am, who I truly am. And it's been beautiful because I'm pretty cool. And that's not always easy to remember or to lean into. But I have lots to give, and I don't need to overextend, and I don't need to try to validate. And sometimes I forget that. So being in spaces this week has reminded me of that. And being on this trip has been kind of like the icing on the cake for some of the conversations that I've had over the last week. So that's it. So as we look forward to this next week, I feel like I'm really going to try and lean into this idea of being grounded in growing. Let me explain what I'm thinking. Growth doesn't need to happen overnight. It doesn't need to be quick. It doesn't need to be rushed. It doesn't need to it doesn't even need to be huge, right? And I wonder if there's something about just feeling more grounded in the growth that I'm doing. It doesn't need to be like this big reveal, like it doesn't need to be anything. Sometimes it's a little bit awkward, sometimes it's a little bit inconvenient, and it's often uncomfortable, but it is necessary. And I think there's something about just being grounded in whatever the moment is, and this moment of growth that I'm currently going through. I just need to sit with it a little bit more and a little more deeply. And it's been uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable, and that's okay. So yeah, this trip in particular that I've spoken about has kind of really reminded me the importance of being grounded and taking a pause. Even on the trip, I've kind of shown up and wanted to dive in and do a bit of this and do a bit of that. It's like, right, man, just pause. That's not what you're here to do. You're here to rest and to restore and to do the things you need. So I guess this week I'm challenging you to think about what's keeping you grounded as you grow, as you navigate new spaces, as you feel a little uncomfortable. What's keeping you grounded, and how are you trying to stay grounded? I don't know yet completely, but I do know speaking to myself kindly is important. Sitting with being uncomfortable is important, and knowing that it's okay not knowing what's coming is also important. So yeah, I guess this next week is going to be all about being grounded as I grow. I'm going to explore that a little bit. So let's see how I get on. So as always, stay out of trouble unless it's good trouble, in which case go wild, and I will see you next week. Deuces.